Hey everybody, it's Dan. Hope you're well. So we're live on Facebook. So the missus has gone to the beach, taking a little one out as well. I will see who's going to come on live. It's a Sunday today, so it's bloody warm, quite frankly. But if you hear lots of people, next door's just having a barbecue outside. We were going to record some more videos for our main property sourcing training, the advanced one. But it's a little bit noisy outside. It's a Sunday, so just a little bit noisy. So we thought that we would just go live, just an intimate chat between you and me. If you've got any questions, just stick them down there and we can run through any questions that you've got. But I figured I'd give you some free training here, and then if you want a little bit more training, you can click the link down below. It should work if I've spelt it right. But you can click that link and that'll take you over to some free training. It's not a massive amount of training, but it's like really valuable stuff. It's less than an hour, but it's short and sharp, and it'll get you straight into some extra training there. And also, if you're wondering what's in my ear, it's my microphone. I use these Bose, where's the camera? I use these Bose headphones, which are really cool wireless headphones. They're pretty awesome, by the way. I highly recommend you get, I don't think you can see the logo, but anyway, you should get some of those. They are amazing, except you do look a bit Frankenstein-like. Anyway, so let's just talk about property. So I've been in property 20 years, and one of the joys of property, there's a lot of negatives about having a lot of property, by the way. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. You know, tenant's not paying. We've got a tenant right now, he's not paying, refusing to leave, going on about harassment, and he's going to get his solicitor onto me, and I'm like, okay, give me your solicitor's number, and now I sort this solicitor out myself. And he's like, oh, you can't tell me what to do. And if you have a lot of problems like that with rental property, it's one of the downsides. I could give it to a letting agency, but they would just screw it up anyway, so what's the point on that? Why would I bother doing that? When actually, I can just screw it up myself without having to pay an estate agent. It saves me a lot of money. But generally, we manage all our portfolio from here in Spain. We've got a cleaner. I think we've got 3 handymen now. We've got 2 definite handymen. We've got a guy who's like, he's just got arms and legs and can drive. Do you know what I mean? He's just someone that can go move things from one place to another, but that works very well for us. So, but the joys of property is that once you get over the fact that you're going to have some hiccups, is simply that you're going to keep generating cash flow for the rest of your life. Which is really awesome. And if you're trying to look in the reflection, you can probably see a camera there if you're looking on the whiteboard, because it is quite a reflective surface. Anyway, so yeah, it's going to generate a lot of income for you over the next 20 years. So we've been in property 20 years, and one of the benefits from property is that rents go up. And actually, let's just talk about this. It's really important, because this is one of the reasons why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, is because of rents go up. Well, kind of it. The main reason is that wealthy people invest in something that's going to generate cash flow that has an opportunity to increase over time. Poor people buy the latest big screen TV or get into credit card debt, and it just sends them downwards, not upwards. So the difference here is that, let's call them wealthy. My handwriting's really bad, by the way, but when you've got wealthy, they buy things like stocks, property, they might buy gold, they'll have a pension, they've got an ISA, and a lot of people haven't got these, which is crazy. What are you going to do at age 65, 67? The new age of retirement is going to be 75 in 20, 30 years. Like, what are you going to, if you're 40 now and you're looking forward to retiring at age 70 in 30 years time, forget it. You ain't retiring at 70. It's going to take you till you're 75 on a state pension. A state pension is going to be worth nothing. It's crazy. But wealthy people, they'll buy a stock today that, you know, might return a 5% yield, let's say. 5% yield's not bad. But they might buy that. But a poor person, let's call them not wealthy, because I don't like the term poor. It sounds very discriminatory in a modern age of 2019. You're not allowed to discriminate against anybody, are you? For fear of death. So if you're looking in the reflection, you can see our barbecue just here somewhere. So, not wealthy people, what do they buy? So 50-inch TVs, yeah. Netflix account, yeah. Take out. They want to look wealthy, so they buy cars, latest technology. So this is what like not wealthy people decide to do. And so there's a difference, okay? So if you're looking between one and the other, if we put this on a graph, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. So if we were to put this on a graph, let's see if we can do this in different colours. Wealthy people who are green, wealthy people, their cash flow, monthly cash flow each month, cash flow monthly, is going like this. Whereas a poor person, not allowed to use that phrase, someone who's not making enough money, their cash flow is actually going, and I'll tell you what's really funny. It's not funny, but I'll tell you what's interesting. Their cash flow is actually going downwards. And this right here is debt. And this is blue. Not wealthy people are in blue. So this right here, they're now in debt. And being in debt's not bad. Like, you know, I've got millions of pounds of debt. But my debt generates cash flow that pays for me living out here. Whereas when you're buying all this other stuff, that debt is actually servicing, of the money that you earn from a wage, is actually servicing this debt, which might be 500 a month. The cash flow from here might be plus 500 a month. And the difference between the two, can you see that there? Yeah, I think you can see that fine. Can you see that one there? Yeah, you can. The difference between the two is £1,000. That's monthly. So, like, that £1,000 a month, that's 12 grand a year. What are you going to do with 12 grand a year? Like, you could do an awful lot. You could buy more things that generate more cash flow, and this increases. So if we're talking about buying more property in the UK, and I was just looking at a city centre flat, 50 grand. And part of me is like, the city centre's not the nicest city centre on the planet, let's just put it that way. But it's 50 grand. I'm like, we could buy that cash. And if we're going to buy that cash, and it's going to generate £450 a month, less the service charge, you're still talking 350 quid. So 6.5%, 7% yield actually. That's not bad. But if we, you know, in 48 months, that's 4 years, we could buy a flat for cash that then pays us £450 a month, 350 after service charges. It's really valuable. This is why the wealthy get rich and the not wealthy don't, is that this gap is getting bigger. These guys here are generating more cash flow, whereas these guys here are spending every penny that they get. Now, this isn't just the only reason, by the way. There's a multitude of reasons. As Jordan Peterson would say, it's a multivariant problem. He likes using his big words, does Jordan. But the other reason why the wealthy get wealthy and the not wealthy continue not to have wealth is because of this. If I buy a place for £100,000, 100 grand, that's 10. 100 grand, okay. I bought a house, it's worth 100. Let's say it's pulling in £600 rent, 600 quid. Today, okay? That's a 7.2% yield. Today. Let's say I bought this and let's say that my mortgage on this, my mortgage is, let's call it 75,000. Great. I should have brought my calculator out or something to do the actual calculation. But what is 5%? 10% is 7.5 grand, so that's 3.5 grand divided by 12 is about £300 a month mortgage. That's very approximate because I've done the calculation in my head. Based at a 5% mortgage rate. Someone do the maths on that, I'm sure it's correct. Ish. Oh, it has to be ish. So, this is today. Now. What about 20 years' time? What's this going to be worth? 20 years. The house worth 100 in 20 years. Like, oh, property doubles every 10 years. No, it doesn't. You need to check. Has it actually doubled? Let's just say you've got 20 years here. So let's say it's worth 175. We're just making up these numbers. So let's just say 175. Fine. What's the mortgage on that? Well, the mortgage is still 75 if you're interest only. So let's just assume that you've not paid anything off. 75 grand. So your net worth has increased to £100,000, which is pretty cool. It's increased 4 times because your net worth here was 25 grand. Here it's £100,000. That's awesome. What about the rent in 20 years' time? Well, I was looking, and rents in the last 5 years have gone up 36% according to one ONS, of course. They say it's only gone up 15%, but I don't know what the smoking in the Office of National Statistics. Unicorn poo, I suggest, is probably what they're smoking, because I don't know what planet they're on. They're getting way off. But let's just say rents go up to, let's just keep it nice and simple. Let's say rents are £1,200. Let's just say it doubles. Awesome. So now the difference between the two here is £600. Actually, let me just redo that. So your mortgage is still costing you £300. You're now earning £1,200. So your profit here is £900. And your profit on the previous one is £300. You've tripled your profit in 20 years. Like, I'm totally making these numbers up. I don't know what these numbers are going to be. This property might only be worth 20 grand. Like, let's just say aliens come and destroy everything. It might be worth 0. Like, who the heck knows? But just on these make-believe figures, what do you think these figures are going to be? I think I've been actually quite conservative. If rents have gone up 40% in the last 5 years, I think they're going to shoot up, by the way. I think this is more like £1,800 a month. But it's 20 years. I'm 47 now, I'll be 67. I'll take it. So if that goes up to 1,800, suddenly I'm making £1,500 a month on this one asset that's costing me £300. Obviously, at some point I need to pay the asset off or refinance it. But like refinancing it, if you're making £900 a month, is going to be fairly easy. And in fact, in less than 100 months, you could pay it off. What's that, 8 years? You just pay it off. So this is one of the reasons why the wealthy get wealthier and the poor or the non-wealthy don't get wealthy, is because here they're buying an asset that's going to not only go up in value, but the rent is going to go up in value. But let's just also assume that instead of it costing £300 a month, you're actually paying down £100 a month over 20 years. So 100 times 12 is 1,200 times 20. Oof, maths is never my strong point. 20 times 20 is about 32,000. Is that right? Let's just call it 32 grand. 32k is now paid off. I can pay 32 off that. I owe 43. Brilliant. Now look, I've got a £175,000 asset, and I've only got a mortgage of 43. Now if I'm earning £900 a month, call it £1,000, it'll take me 43 months just to pay that house off good and clear. This is why the wealthy get wealthier and the non-wealthy get poorer. It's because you're not taking advantage of inflation. Inflation is your friend. And by the way, this let's just assume that you didn't pay anything off. You didn't pay anything off towards this, it was just interest only. That's £75,000. How much is that worth in 20 years? Well, £75,000 today is worth £75,000. That's obvious, right? What's inflation today? 3%. Really should have bought a calculator. 1% is 750 quid. 2,250. So now it's only worth about 72.50. That's what that property, the debt, is actually worth in real terms next year if inflation is 3%, because money is decreasing its value. A pound today, this reminds me, by the way, of my economics teacher. He'd always get his money out on the table. He goes, "What's that?" It's Scottish, by the way, so my Scottish accent's very bad. "What's that?" "That's money." And he would talk about how a pound today is worth less tomorrow and less next year, and in 20 years, like, do you remember when fish and chips used to be like £2 or something? Crisps used to be like 9 pence. Do you remember 9 pence bags of crisps? Chips were like 21p. Like chips are like a couple of quid now, right? So this is year 1, year 2, year 3, offloading it. Like in 20 years' time, this 72 grand's probably worth about 45 grand. But you've got an asset that's paying a lot more money that's worth the equivalent of 45 grand in 20 years' time. Because you're using tomorrow's money and 20 years' money to pay this thing down. This is why the wealthy get wealthier and poor folks don't. This is why you should be in property. This is why I got into property 20 years ago. Because I wanted to see what would happen. Let's do the maths on this, just to show you. And by the way, if this is useful, let me know. Just drop me a message. That's always useful for me to know as well. So, one of the reasons I got into property was I did the maths and I worked out that I could earn profit £150 per month, which is £1,800 per year. So that's monthly. Now, my expenses at the time were about £1,000. It's going back 20 years. You know, do you remember what I was just saying about the pound 20 years ago was worth a lot more than it is today? Like I could live on £1,000 a month. I couldn't do that now. I've got kids as well, of course, so it's almost impossible. But £150 a month times 10 equals £1,500. My costs were £1,000, which meant I had £500 available in case stuff went wrong every month, and I'd save some of that money and do repairs. But the idea for me was I'd have 10 houses paying £150, which would pay me £150 a month. That's it. So how many do you need? Like, that's changed, by the way, massively for me, because obviously we live in Spain, and actually it's cheaper living here in Spain as it happens, but lifestyle's more expensive, got children, got more assets we want to buy and so on. But how many of those do you need right now? So let's say you found a HMO. So a HMO is 4 bedrooms, 4 to, say, 8 bedrooms. And how many bedrooms will really determine how much money you're going to make. So if you've got 4 bedrooms and you're making, I'm not going to do the maths because it can get quite complicated on this, but let's just say it's a 6-bed HMO. Let's do that. 6 bed. A HMO, by the way, is a house of multiple occupation. It's where lots of people... Hey Mike, hope you're well. Where are you, Mike? Are you in England? Wales, I should say. It's next to England, isn't it? Or are you... hey Rich, where are you, Mike, today? Are you in sunny Italy? I can wave at you. I always enjoy waving at people. Hey Rich, hope you're well. So if you've got a 6-bed HMO and it's paying £500 a month, every single month, okay? Let's 10x that. But before we 10x that, how much money do you need? Let's say you need £2,500 a month. Technically, you only need 5 of those. Now, actually, really, you need more than 5 of those, because what if you've got Mumbles? I don't know where Mumbles is. Or are you referring to me? Is that your pet name for me, Mike? Swansea. Got it, Mike's in Swansea. I think I've just my earpiece. I'd certainly need it. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Let me know if you can still hear me, because my earpiece went out of charge. But if you've got £500 a month and you've got 2.5, that will pay your monthly income, which is awesome. But we don't just want to cover your monthly income. You want to get 10x that amount. 10x that amount is £5,000. That'll more than pay for a boiler blowing up, needing replacing, a tenant or 2 tenants not paying. It'll also pay for your trip to Italy, and so on. This is why I got invested in property, because this is really important to me. I can actually plug in another mic here, so let me just plug in another mic. Hey Gamal, hope you're well, hope I pronounced your name right. Let me just plug in another mic. There we go, that should be a bit better sound wise. My wireless mic ran out of charge, that'll teach me to charge it up. Now, you can't go out and find 10 HMOs on day one, that's just not possible. But this is why we do property sourcing. Like, to buy one 10-bed HMO, you might need, say, £40,000 to buy your first one. And to buy 10, obviously you add another zero, so it's going to be 400,000. Where are you going to find 400 grand from? So there's a number of things that you can do here. This is why we talk about property sourcing. I've not bought, I've actually bought one, okay. But most of my properties have been bought below market value. And so, you know, when you see like people in the Guardian newspaper and they're arguing and they're saying things like, oh, property investors are pushing prices up. No, they're not. Out of almost all of my properties, and I've bought and sold a lot of properties and I own a lot of properties, I've just paid full asking price for one property. Everything else has been bought below market value. So let's just say that you want to buy your first HMO and £40,000 is your target. Mike, by the way, hey Indy, hope you're well. Mike will be jumping up and down saying 40 grand's not enough. But we found deals, by the way, that's 40 grand in that will pay us £1,000 a month for the rest of our life. But let's just say this is our target. This is how much money we need to get into our first deal. So what do? Well, let's just suppose that we can find some deals below market value and we can sell those deals on and we can make £4,000 per deal. £4,000 per deal. How many of those deals would you need to source to get your first deposit on one for you to own? Well, you need 10. This is the thing about property is I've done these numbers like 1 trillion times. Hey, how you doing, Radislav? Is that how you pronounce it? Hope it is. I've done these numbers like 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, billions of times. Oh, right, might be a slight exaggeration over 1 billion there. Honestly, before I took, there's the motorbike. Before I bought my first house, it took me 6 years of running numbers to actually understand why more people weren't doing it. And to this day, I was just having a rant a couple of days ago about estate agents. What are estate agents not buying deals for? Oh, I'm a property professional. Well, how professional are you if you're not investing in it? My camera is in mirror image. Yes, I know. I've talked to you about that actually. Samsung, if you're going to do this on a Samsung, it is in mirror image and it's impossible to change it. And if you do it on an iPhone, there's a little, in the settings you can change it, but I'm on a Samsung. And why Samsung do that, as modern as they are, is just beyond me. So if you just hold a mirror up to your laptop and watch it via a mirror, it'll work. Next time I go live, I'll do it on my iPhone. I've got an old iPhone 5. Anyway, £4,000 for each deal you find, times 10, it's 40 grand. That will get you into your first HMO. 40 grand down, pay you £1,000 for life. Now, the other advantage of learning how to source deals is that if you're finding a deal that's £130,000, why, by the way, I choose numbers that I have to then work out is beyond me. Well, I should have just said £100,000. But that deal before that's 40 grand down, oh, Radek is short for my name and it's easy to pronounce. Perfect, thank you. I will forget that. But thank you anyway. I'll try and remember that. So 130 grand. If you can find a property that's 40 grand down, pays a month, £1,000 a month for life. Mike's off, is walking the dog on the beach. Awesome, Mike. So, just making sure that the family's not back. No, I think we're fine. We're at the beach today. So, 130 grand, 40 grand down. That'll get you into that deal. And that will pay £1,000 a month for life. So that's why I'm focused on that. Now, let's take 30% off that. 13,026, it's 39,000, it's 130. Minus 39,000 is 91,000. That's how much you're going to buy a deal for. If you can go out and find deals like this, where do you find deals that are 130 grand that you can buy for 90? Well, let's say that they owe £80,000 on it. And tomorrow is Monday, and tomorrow they're going to court, and they're about to be made bankrupt. If you can step in on a deal like that, and by the way, don't tell me that these deals don't happen, because these deals definitely do happen, we've done it. Right, I guarantee right now there's somebody in England who's going to court tomorrow, and they're going to go bankrupt. And they might be in this kind of situation, where they've got an 80 grand mortgage, maybe we've got a 5 grand credit card, and I'm not saying that you have to go 30% down. You might go for 100 and buy it for 100. Now you've got an asset for 100 that's going to pay you £1,000 a month for life. Guaranteed. It's not guaranteed, nothing's guaranteed, but there's a good possibility, good probability, we like to say. Everything's about probabilities in life. Is the moon going to be there tonight? There's a probability, hey Jonathan, there's a probability, a high probability that the moon will still be there, but there's no guarantee. If the sun disappeared right now, heck, it would take us 8.2 minutes to even realise it's gone, okay? So you don't have to, like, screw the client on the deal, and I would suggest that you don't screw the client on the deal. You know, if they've got £85,000 worth of debt and you're giving them 100, they've now got £15,000 to move on with their life, which is an awesome deal. You've got an awesome deal because you've got 30 grand off a 130 grand house. Now you can either sell that for 4 grand onto, you sell the deal for £4,000 onto someone who's looking for these type of deals, or you keep it. Remember, our target before was 40 grand. We need to sell 10 of these type of deals for you to get into your first deal. That right there is property sourcing. That's why we got into it. When we were dropping leaflets, we were dropping tens and tens and tens of thousands of leaflets. We had a whole team of leaflet droppers working for the business, and we were dropping lettings agency business leaflets, which was mine. We were dropping below market value type leaflets. We were dropping taxi drivers, pizza companies, hairdressers, mobile salons, anything and everything who we would approach to try and sell them into us dropping their leaflets for them. And these are the type of deals that we were doing all day long. If they're out there, you just got to find out how. So that will do us for today. But if you want to find out and you want to sign up for the property training course, then you should jump on that. It's free of charge. There's an upsell later on, which we're just about to record some videos for, which is coming out in September once everybody's back at school. It's a little bit noisy around here right now, but once we get that. But you go take a look or not, it's completely up to you. And we'll try and go live a little bit more and just show you these little kind of, a little bit more of an insight into actually what we do and how we do it. I think these are really useful. On social media, people only see like the results. Do you know what I mean? Like you go on Instagram and you see fitness gurus and they're all ripped and shredded, and that's 15 years in the making. Do you know what I mean? And me, a slovenly, slob-like English guy living in Spain, I'm like, I want to be like that, but I don't want to put the work in. But actually seeing behind the scene, I think, is really important, because then you get to understand, well, Dan's done these numbers as well, like 1,000,000 times. I need to be running these numbers 1,000,000 times. And when we speak to investors on the phone, or we speak to them on Facebook or wherever, and they go, well, it sounds so easy for you. Yeah, it's easy because I've done it 1,000,000 times. You know what? I've run the numbers so many times. I've got spreadsheets that now do them for me. I can now do it in my head, not brilliantly, but I can do the maths. Do you know what I mean? But we can only do that because we've done it so many times. By the way, I'm open to questions. If you guys got any questions, I'm always you can, if you're watching this on a replay, and you can just watch the replay and type it in. I'll come back to you because it will come up on my timeline as well. Anyway, look, I hope that's wicked for you. It's a Sunday, so I hope you're not doing too much work. And if you're not doing any work, then maybe you should do some work, find some deals. And if you are doing lots of work, then make sure you get some rest in the time with family, which is what I'll be doing as well. Other than that, have a wicked weekend, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care.